Centering stuff in CSS has a reputation of being notoriously difficult, especially on the vertical axis, and it has even become some sort of a running joke. But with modern CSS, it's actually quite easy. And in this video, I will show you 5 different ways to do it. So let's center some stuff with CSS. Alright, so on our page we have this blue container div and we have this green div inside of it. And we want to center this green box vertically within the parent div. So how can we do that with absolute positioning? Well, the first thing that we have to do obviously is we have to give this green child div a value of position absolute. And additionally, we have to give it a value of top 50%. Now, as you can see, it is leaking outside of its parent element now, and the reason for that is that with absolute positioning, this div is now positioned absolutely in terms of the entire page, but we want to position it relative to the parent element. And to achieve that, we have to give the blue parent element, the blue div, a value of position relative. And now, as you can see, the green box stays inside of the blue one, but its top edge is aligned with the middle of the parent element, but we want its center to be aligned with the center of the parent. So how can we do that? We have to give our green div element an additional value of transform and then translate y, and we have to pass in minus 50%. here, and this minus 50% is according to its own height. So the green box now gets shifted up by 50% of its own height. And this is how we can achieve a vertical centering of the green div within its container. Okay, again we start out with our blue parent and our green child div, and this time we want to be using flex boxes. And flex boxes have really made web developers' lives so much easier in the past few years. So this is really a piece of cake, right? So the blue div gets the display flex property, and then it's just a matter of giving it align items center to vertically center all the child elements inside of it. And additionally, you can give it justify content center to also horizontally align items at the center. It's really as simple as that with CSS flex boxes. Okay, this next technique is also fairly new in CSS. This time it's a display grid property that we have to give to the blue parent element, and then again we can use the align item center property to center the child vertically. And additionally we can use justify item center, or we can even use, as a shortcut for both of them, we can use place item center, and it will take care of the vertical and horizontal alignment just with one property. That's the power of display grid. Okay, this next one is about making sure that any text we have inside our child element appears vertically centered within the child element. And when we want to do that, then there is one more technique we can use, which might seem a little bit odd, and you might want to use this sparingly, but we can give our parent element a display value of table, and then the child element gets a display value of table cell. And in addition to that, to make sure our text appears in the middle, there's this magical vertical align middle that vertically centers the text. And additionally, we can use text align center to also center it horizontally. This is a way of doing it that you might find helpful in certain situations. You might not want to use this often because, as you can see, the size of this child element is now a little bit out of control. It always behaves pretty much like a table cell within an actual table, so you don't have that much control over its positioning and sizing anymore. But this is also a technique that you can use. Okay, this last one assumes that you have a parent container element, and inside of it you have a number of inline elements that you want to align vertically in relation to each other, so that it all looks nice and centered vertically. So what you can do then is you can simply give these inline elements vertical align middle, but you have to give it to all of them, as you can see, and that will make sure that they're all vertically aligned along the center axis of the parent. Now, technically, it is a little bit more complicated than this, because if you look at the specification, this vertical align property is a little more complex. It says something about the baseline plus half of the x height of the parent. But what is the x height? The x height is basically the vertical space that the lowercase letter x would take up. It's a typography term. If you want to read up about that, please do so and check out all the details about vertical align and its different values, but I should leave it at that for this video. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.